I used to work at a small animation studio in Florida that handled post-production for Nickelodeon. The kind of place where dreams were drawn before they turned into nightmares. It was late 2006 when I first heard the rumors, an episode that never aired. Something called Happy Campers, Final Cut. Supposedly, it was the last tape produced before one of the show's lead animators disappeared. Nobody ever talked about it openly. You'd hear whispers in the hallways, "Don't go into the basement after hours," or "That's where the lost reel is." At first, I thought it was just a studio myth. Every network has one. But one night when the servers crashed, I was told to manually check the archives in the basement. It smelled like mold and melted plastic. The lights flickered like they were scared to stay on. I brushed off cobwebs and found a small gray VHS tape inside a case marked, "Property of Nick Animation, do not duplicate." My curiosity got the better of me. I loaded it into the dusty player connected to an old CRT monitor. The screen hissed alive with static. For a second, I thought I heard whispering. Then it started playing. It looked like a SpongeBob episode, but wrong. The colors were washed out and the sound was warped, like the characters were underwater for real. SpongeBob stood in the middle of his pineapple, staring blankly at the camera. No movement, no music, just a faint sound of breathing. After about 30 seconds, his mouth opened, too wide, way too wide. The frame stuttered and a scream erupted, not from him, but from someone behind the camera. I froze. This wasn't a cartoon. Someone had recorded over it. The footage cut to what looked like the real Nickelodeon office hallway, dark, flickering lights, and someone running, holding the same camera. A distorted voice said, "They told me not to show this, but it's still here." Then the video glitched, and SpongeBob's face reappeared, melting, his eyes black. Dripping, his laugh slowed into a guttural hum that shook the speakers. That's when I heard footsteps, real ones, coming down the basement stairs behind me. Short pause, low breathing sound effect. I turned around, but no one was there. When I looked back at the screen, SpongeBob wasn't there either. Just an empty pineapple house. And then, something whispered my name. I didn't sleep that night. I told my supervisor about the tape, but he just stared at me and said, "You didn't see anything. You understand?" That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. The next day I went back, against every instinct I had. But when I reached the basement, the entire shelf where I'd found the tape was empty. Not just that one tape, all of them, gone. I checked the logbook. It showed an entry from someone named R. Klein, the animator who had vanished years ago. The timestamp? 2 hours after I left the night before. That was impossible. Later that night, I hacked into the old network server using my credentials. Buried deep in the archives was a folder named Happy Final Cut Raw Footage. The, files had timestamps stretching over months, long after production had ended. I opened one. It wasn't animation. It was security footage of the Nickelodeon office. Empty, except for one desk. A man hunched over a light board, drawing frantically, his reflection flickering across the glass. The camera zoomed in slowly. He looked up right at me through the screen. His eyes were hollow, his face pale like paper. He whispered, "It's not done yet." Then everything went black. When I looked back at the footage folder, it had duplicated itself. Dozens of times. My name was now listed as the file creator. I yanked out the hard drive and ran. For weeks after, strange things started happening. My TV would turn on by itself, playing distorted snippets of that same episode. SpongeBob's laugh, slowed and warped, echoing through my apartment. And one night, I woke up to find a VHS tape lying on my desk, the same gray case, but this time, it had my name on it. Low rumble builds. I don't know how it got there. I don't know if this recording will even reach anyone. But if you ever find a Nickelodeon tape labeled "Do Not Duplicate," burn it before it starts recording you. It's been 3 days since the tape appeared on my desk. I haven't touched it. Haven't dared to. But every time I turn off the lights, I hear it. That faint click, like a VHS starting to play by itself. I unplugged my TV, my computer, even threw out my speakers. It didn't matter. The sound came from inside the tape itself. I finally decided to destroy it. I grabbed the case, stepped outside, and headed toward the dumpster behind my building. But the second I opened the lid, The tape began to vibrate. Softly at first, then violently. I dropped it. The lid of the VHS popped open, and the magnetic film began unspooling across the ground, crawling toward my shoes like it was alive. That's when I saw something burned into the film, frame after frame of me, sitting in my apartment, watching the tape, even though I hadn't yet. I ran, I left it there. But when I came back inside, another one was on my table. Same label, same handwriting. Only one difference. The words "do not duplicate" were scratched out. That night, I started seeing faces on the TV screen when it was off. Not reflections, just static shapes staring back. And behind them, something moving. Tall, thin, wearing a Nickelodeon security badge. I turned my phone's flashlight toward the TV, and for a split second, the screen showed the same hallway from the lost episode. But at the end of it, I saw myself. I can't tell what's real anymore. Every channel I turn to shows the same thing. The lost episode, only now it's live. I see my apartment on the screen. The same angle, even the blinking red recording light in the corner. The show keeps playing, except this time there's a laugh track. People are laughing while I sit alone, terrified. It feels like someone's watching me through a million invisible cameras. Then I hear it, the voice of R. Klein, the missing animator. He's whispering through the TV. "You finished my work. Now you're part of it." The floor starts to vibrate. The walls stretch, bend, like celluloid melting in a projector. Reality folds in frames, flickering at 24 per second. And then through the static, SpongeBob's face fades in again, distorted, melting, his smile stretching across the screen like a wound. He speaks in a human voice this time. "Are you ready, editor man?" I screamed, threw the TV on the ground, but it didn't break. The glass rippled like water. I saw hands, cartoon hands, pressing from the inside, clawing to get out. The screen shattered. And when I looked up, the walls of my apartment were covered in Nickelodeon. Storyboards, each one showing me, frame by frame, being pulled inside the cartoon. The last thing I remember is falling into darkness, hearing the distorted theme, music looping endlessly. When I woke up, I wasn't home. I was sitting in a small, brightly colored room, a pineapple-shaped house. A camera pointed right at me. And somewhere outside, I heard children laughing, and a voice calling out, "And that's our show for today."